at least especially by the end of the film, is very clearly the villain of this story.
Yeah, because it's just without, like, you could argue, without the snakes occurring, the monk wouldn't have gotten over the top, and we wouldn't have had this giant climax that we do. But at the same time, without the monk's sexual repression, this was all just bottling up. It was whether or not the snake ladies were the ones to ignite the fuse for him, that fuse was going to be ignited, and he was going to blow up eventually.
Yeah, well, because what happens is that the snakes land on Earth, and they come in a human form of this very, obviously this very lovely naked Chinese woman.
Yeah,
and he sees her legs, and he's like, "Damn!" And he goes back to his temple, and he's like, "Can't get those legs out of my head, man." He's trying to meditate. Buddha's sitting right behind him, and he's like, "Buddha, I can't stop thinking about these legs, man."
Yeah. Is this when he goes into that kind of that dream realm? Or
yeah,
whatever? It's almost like a. I don't even know if it's real. It's almost like they go inside his head, and that's what he's battling.
Yeah, and he sees all these like really creepy monkey people.
Yeah, with long tails, and I think they all are women.
Yeah,
too, because it's like he's trying to fight that sexual repression.
But yeah, it really investigates the sexual repression of his spirituality, and there's these weirdly grotesque like women monkey characters, and they're really horrifying makeup done on them. Yeah. And he's like screaming, he's like, "How dare you insult the holy Buddha!" And he starts killing them using like wind, fire, and water, and all the different elements that he's controlling. And he's like, "So many evils, I'll kill them all." And meanwhile, they're singing a song that's all like, "Right or wrong is unclear." They're like, "Mind not pure." And he was just like, they're like, "We know that you are filled with lust, which you should not be," even though it's a very normal thing, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when you see these two actresses, because like they've very clearly chosen really good-looking actresses to play. And I mean, they do this whole thing where they're in the human form, and they've chosen like almost like cartoonishly good looking body forms. And there's parts where they're like talking about how they're gonna sway. Yeah, they're gonna sway and move their waists, and then all the as they start doing that,
they do it in such an exaggerated way. Like it's not just the hip thing; it's like hip. It's huge.
It's so over exaggerated. And meanwhile, there's like they're walking by a river, and two boats filled with like 20 guys on each boat just like crash into each other because they're all watching.
Damn snake ladies.
Yeah, and we'd be remiss not to mention that while this story is happening, the actual filming style is completely bonkers.
Oh yeah, it's all like the colors are all over the place. The
colors are so insane. It reminded me of Argento's like deep primary color lighting and things like Suspiria and Inferno. Like it's these huge blues and reds and greens. And we talked about it before we talked about it on the show. Before the show, we talked about it was this bit about how he used the half and half filters.
Oh yeah,
on the top part and the bottom half, where he can like mix like orange and blue, and he can mix like these huge like deep reds and stuff like that.
Yeah, it makes like, because I think the buildings themselves were already red, but when he puts that half on, it just makes everything blood red.
Yeah.
And it pops. It really does.
Yeah, and the way that he uses these filters, and he also uses them to get at a little bit of like a duality of like kind of like who people are on the outside, like the form, and then who they are on the inside, like whether they're fucking snakes,
right? Yeah, right.
Or whether they're just a different person, like they act differently. The same way that the teacher kind of becomes a whole new guy once he's around the snakes, and he has to like, he's not dealing with the fact that I don't know if he's just maybe not a particularly great looking guy or whatever it is, but he's really shocked that these two women really want to be involved with him.
He does seem, as the film goes on, it does seem like he's a very cowardice kind of guy. Like it doesn't seem like he has a lot of strength within himself.
He didn't ask to be swept up in a cosmic battle between Buddha and demon snakes. Okay,
fair enough. Fair enough. But there are moments where it just shows that where like there's that moment where he gets up from, I think he just died, and they resurrect him.
Oh yeah, and the scene where he is shocked to death because her snake green snake form is revealed. Because here's the thing, we have to talk about the fact that these are literal snakes. Like we're not talking about like this.
They don't have like eyes and teeth. It's like they're snakes and they're in a human form, but they are snakes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're half human and Half Snake,
which looks hilarious and amazing.
Yeah, but I also, that sequence where it's showing them kind of like just slither around their home and things like that, with the upper body being the human, genuinely creeped me out. Like it's well done. It's really well done.
Because this is based on like an ancient Chinese fairy tale, apparently, which also reminded me a little of Argento's. It's like a very good versus evil kind of story, but is more morally complex. It's funny, we criticized a little bit Ridley Scott's Legend because we were like, this is a very good versus evil childlike fairy tale story, and it's kind of just, that's all it is.
Very obvious.
This is that, but with the style hyped up like times 100, and the actual like emotional and moral complexity of the story is actually really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's far more complicated.
It's exactly what I was looking for when we were critical of Legend and we said we wanted more. This was the more right here.
Absolutely.
But the green snake form is amazing, and the snake forms themselves are actually amazing.